Hi, so we want to talk about burnout and work-life balance. When we're talking about burnout, it's defined as the state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion due to prolonged or repeated stress. And so the impact of burnout on work-life balance is really shows in the different symptoms that you can have, right? So when it comes to burnout, you have lack of motivation, you're irritable, you're feeling helpless, hopeless, physical symptoms such as neck pains or back pains, your maybe habits, your eating habits or your sleeping habits are different. There's a lot of changes in that. You're finding it hard to focus, or sometimes you're using drugs or alcohol in order to cope. You could also find yourself just not wanting to go to work, avoiding some responsibilities, isolating yourself from people. So there's a lot of different things that happened when it comes to burnout, and that can translate in your work-life balance. So you're avoiding some responsibilities, or you're exhausted. So feeling exhausted, you're not going to be pouring out into other areas of your life that need you or need that same attention, because now you're completely burned out. Let's define work-life balance. So what do we mean by that? Well, work-life balance is really about the activities you do that are work-related versus home or individual or personal activities, and how you're prioritizing them. So as are your work activities sipping into your own personal life? How much time are you spending time doing work activities versus the amount of time you're spending with family or friends or doing activities you enjoy? Okay, so let's talk about a few steps to help you gain that work-life balance, the ideal work-life balance that would work for you. So for starters, you want to be aware of your own values. What are the things that you enjoy, that you value? How do you imagine your life being? If you value family, friends, and spending time with them, that could be a value that you want to make sure you foster and that you protect. But making sure that you're paying attention to the things that you value out of life. Next step is going to be narrow your focus. So based on the values that you have, how does it translate for your schedule? If you said that you value fitness, for instance, or well-being, do you take some time to work out in your schedule? Making sure that the values that you have and the activities that you're actually doing, or the time that you're investing in different areas in your life, are actually matching. Then at number 3, you want to cut where you can. So if you're finding that there's some tasks that you're doing that maybe are taking you too much time and are not necessary, these will be a good time to say maybe you need to delegate to somebody else, you need to maybe do something different, just so that your time is not wasted in areas that are not necessary. And in order to help you do that, maybe request some changes at work. Are you able to start work later because you have to pick up your kids, or finish work earlier once a week because you want to be going to the gym or going to an activity? Making sure that you're having a conversation with your manager, with your team, to see what is it that you can change in your day-to-day that's going to help you with that work-life balance, or even in terms of where the time is spent, even as a team level. Try to honor your energy. Realize where you're spending most of your time. Are you doing things that are draining your energy? The point about burnout is the fact that you're feeling exhausted, right? So you want to avoid that exhaustion and be more aware of where you're spending that energy, so that you're spending it in areas that are actually more beneficial for you versus increasing those feelings of burnout and those different symptoms. Establish your non-negotiables. What are the things that you don't want to take away from your schedule? What are the things that are very important for you? Like I was saying earlier, if you value fitness or wellness, if you value spending time with family members, those could be your non-negotiables. Maybe you have things in your schedule that you know for sure you don't want to remove, you don't want to reduce. So being aware of the things that you really, in order for you to keep that wellness, that well-being, those are the things that you need in your life. So making sure you are aware of all of your non-negotiables. And then when you know your non-negotiables, then you could create and establish your boundaries. Maybe you want to make sure that after a certain time of the day at 5 o'clock, you're done work and then you're actually closing your laptop. So depending on what that could look like for you, is it during your lunch hour you're actually having your lunch, you're going for your walk, you're not doing any work related things. Whatever your boundaries would look like based on your values, based on your non-negotiables, those are the things that you need to set up for yourself and make sure that you're maintaining those boundaries. The next point would be to ensure you're ending your work day. What is that transition between work and your personal life? What are you doing, especially if, let's say, you're working from home? You want to make sure that you have a clear end day stop. So if you finish at 4, you finish at 5, what is your ritual? Are you closing your laptop? Are you going for a walk? Are you taking a shower? Are you calling a friend? Whatever it is, make sure that you have a set time and that you have your ritual set up. Even if you're maybe working in the office, it might be more visual in terms of like, I'm leaving the office, I'm driving, or I'm taking the transportation to go home. But during that time, what are you doing? Are you listening to music? Are you reading a book? What is your ritual to stop that work life and transition to that personal life? Make sure to put the good stuff in your schedule, the things that you like, you enjoy. If it's having a phone call with a friend, remembering to take a walk, remembering to take your lunchtime, or to work out, whatever it is, making sure that you're putting that in your schedule. That is a reminder, as well as helping you with that accountability of actually doing some of the things that you wanted to do. So making sure that you're adding those in your schedule. And actually use your days off. You have a lot of vacation days, hopefully. Even if you have one vacation day, make sure that you use it before the end of the year. We tend to sort of skip our vacation days and maybe leave it to like the last minute before the end of the year. Try to use one day here and there, or really making sure that you're using your days off, your weekends, whatever it looks like. Make sure that you're actually using them and you're making the most out of those days. And lastly, if you need it, make sure that you asking for support. Support might be really helpful. It could look differently for many of us. It's extra support from your managers, from your coworkers, or getting professional support like a therapist or a mental health specialist that can actually help you with setting your boundaries, establishing what are your obstacles, helping you with that motivation and that accountability. There's a lot of tools and resources available for you in order to help you in this type of situation. And so in the end, in summary, just to make sure when it comes to burnout, pay attention to those different symptoms, but also paying attention to the things you can do in your life just to help with that work-life balance so that you can avoid burnout. Things are going to be different depending on the individual, so making sure those are things that matters to you and look good for your own well-being.